Are you skeptical at all about some of the parts of AI?
Say roll back 1 year ago, it would be potentially possible to have a debate whether AI was helping engineers do engineering work. Like that's completely gone as a debate at this point.
Is there any things that stand out from that whole chapter, that whole period, that has defined you as a leader?
In cycling and then in work, and it's also what I'm like for my reports or people in my org or anyone I'm chatting to, it's like consistently doing the small things well.
You work for Intercom, right? And you're in a senior leadership position.
In Intercom, the way we work, building product is radically altered in the last 5 months, and it's continuing to accelerate. And if you have anyone that says something like, I know what we're going to be doing in 3 months, or I know where this is going in 3 months, they're lying. It's a crazy time in our industry. We're really lucky to be in it.
Ryan, thank you for saying yes. We really appreciate you coming on our Leaders podcast. So thank you, sir.
Cool, thank you. No, thank you for having me.
No, pleasure. Take me back to 2004 when you graduated in Ireland, right? What was the landscape like for jobs? And then tell me how you arrived and landed in Silicon Valley.
Yeah. So I don't know, like I started college in 2000 and I went into computer science. And I remember at the time, this was just the time of the .com blow up.
Sure,
and people were like, oh, you're kind of crazy. Like computers are a bit of a fad. And like, no, it's going to be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. So I studied computer science. And when I was studying, I was lucky enough to be able to get to Silicon Valley to do a couple of internships. So that had been, like 2 summers, went over to Silicon Valley for 3-4 months. And it was just eye-opening relative to Ireland. So at the time, the Microsoft was here and Apple was here, but it was like relatively low key. I think Google may have just opened their office, but at that point it was still super small. But the tech scene, aside from that, was like, it was really niche, really small. And even things like the wage of an Irish software engineer at that point, was not much different than any sort of like a wage you'd get in working in a coffee shop or anything like that. So I went over to Silicon Valley and my eyes were opened, and it was just different. You'd be going down.
Was the place booming back then, or it was?
Oh well, I wouldn't. Booming, it wasn't quite booming because of the .com bomb, but like you'd still see like the Google offices, and you'd still see like these other big companies, and just get a feel for the momentum. You'd go into a coffee shop and people were talking about compilers or this sort of or like some new software thing they're building, and it gets like, it was pretty infectious. So that when I was finishing up college, looking around Ireland, it was like, okay, I want a piece of this. I want to build something. But there was no funding in Ireland. It's not like it is here now. Like even in the US, it would have been pretty hard for a couple of 20-year-olds to start anything. So myself and a few of my college buddies, we decided, okay, we're going to start a company. We've no funding, but let's leverage my contacts. So I think, luckily enough, I did quite well. Was I left a good reputation and with the people I worked with when I was in the interns. So just as I was coming up to finishing college, when they got a call from me saying like, "You remember me? What about 5 of me?" And they were pretty happy. They were like, yeah, sure. And they were doing a bit of wage arbitrage. We were Silicon Valley, even at that point, the wage was high, and we were like, oh, we'll take 50% discount on that. But still, for us, as 22-year-olds, this is amazing. So that's how we got started with our company. We did basically contracting for Silicon Valley companies the first couple of years.
Software engineering, was it? Pure coding?
Just pure coding. Everywhere had a lot to still get done, and a lot of blow-ins that went into tech around the .com, they kind of left again because it wasn't as sexy anymore. So it's kind of the people that were actually interested were left, and we were lucky enough to be able to get in there and for the first couple of years build ourselves a war chest of just cash so that we were able to self-fund and build something. And then after a couple of years, we pivoted into that and trying to build something.
It's remarkable though, young, that you had the acumen and just kind of cracked on and did it though, that. Where did that come from? Was that just it was just in you, or?
Well, I think it's it's certainly seen Silicon Valley and seeing what it was like and seeing just people going and doing things. It's like, we're 22, we don't have a mortgage, we don't have kids. Like, when do you do something like this? Like, it was just so low risk.
Really.
Yeah, and in Dublin, as I say, when you look around, like the fallback was working a completely standard job, and it would pay less anyway. So like, yeah, let's just give it a shot. And like the people that I started the company with, they're like, I just loved being around them, and like I wanted to find a way of like sort of extending the fun that we had in college. Like oftentimes, me and my buddy Fergal, we'd stay up all night making video games, and like I loved it. And I was like, okay, how do we get paid for doing this, and keep that sort of atmosphere? So yeah, no, we had like we rented 2 apartments. They were pretty big apartments that we lived across them. One was our playhouse, and one was the workhouse. And like we converted the work part, the work open plan office, the open plan section of the work one into an office, and then the other one was like TV and a projector and this sort of stuff. And we just did that for a few years.
And then so obviously saved a few quid then, and then came back to Ireland then.
Oh no, we were always in Ireland. Yeah, it was always proper. Yeah, it was always proper wage arbitrage. We were paying European rent, not Palo Alto rent. So we were always based here. And then when we started doing the product stuff, like we had the right ideas. We used to have like we do these sessions, or like ideation sessions. We had this notebook, and we were like, okay, we see this and this is going to happen based on these technology trends, or we think this is going to happen. We had all these really great ideas. Like we talked about building a Strava like 2 years before Strava came out.
Okay.
But like they ended up all just being ideas. Like we never committed. Like I guess like while we were technically like pretty proficient, we didn't have the product chops. We didn't. Like when we were working as contractors, we were working as engineers to make money. We weren't really involved in the business. We weren't involved in sales. And I think we just had like a pretty big gap to move from that to actually selling to customers. So we never really committed. And after about a year of doing this, we'd still got plenty of cash. We decided that we'd shut down the business and go our own ways. Now, somewhat in parallel to this, Fergal, my friend, we were over in the US one of the times, and he'd bought a fancy mountain bike, and for the first time in my life, I actually had some cash that was disposable.
I love this story. Sorry.
Yeah.
Suck me in again.
Yeah. So so like he bought this nice bike, and I was like, I can buy a bike. I've
and
money
sorry,
for
to be clear, you'd never really done much biking or anything.
Like, no.
Just normal stuff as a kid, kind of thing. Like,
yeah. So just hobbyist, playing around a little bit.
Okay, so he's bought a nice bike, and you looked at that.
I'd say it was like 2,000 or 3,000 euro, which at that point I thought was like extreme. But now I've been in cycling a while. I know that's not extreme. So I spent the same, and then bought the bike. I was like, I spent all this money. I should start riding a little bit. So I was riding it a bit, and I was enjoying it. And this is like after like 2 months or so. I was like, okay.
At the time, were you into your fitness? Could you consider yourself fit? Were you doing anything else?
Not really then. Like when I was in school, I played basketball at a high level. Yeah. But when in college, I kind of went cold turkey on that. I got really into computers and got sick of like politicky stuff in basketball. So I went for a run every now and then. I remember when we were doing our company, like the contracting part, we used to work crazy hours. Like we used to work like 70 or 80 hour weeks, and we loved it. And like I remember finishing work, because like the people we were working with were in California, we're in Ireland. I remember finishing work around midnight and going for a run like afterwards. It was like we were kind of doing shift work, but we weren't. But we'd also start at like 10 o'clock the next morning. So like just bits and bobs. Though there was one, I did like going out to clubs and things like that. Like I didn't drink very much, but I used to like going out dancing. Yeah. So I'd go out and I'd dance for 4 or 5 hours. And maybe that's the endurance base that I would build on later. It's like in cycling, they call it like LSD, so just long, slow distance. But I was like long, slow dancing for like, I don't know. Yeah.
So you've seen this mountain bike.
Yeah. And then I rode it more, and then I was like, I'm riding it enough. I probably should try a race. Then I tried a race. It was like a total low key race. And then I won the race, and I was like, I actually like this. And
that was here in
that was in Ireland.
Dublin.
Yeah, it was in the Dublin Mountains up around Ticknock. Yeah. And that kind of just got me started down a path. And like this was in parallel to when we were doing the product piece. And to say I was distracted from trying to be a product leader of the company and then trying to do cycling, like I was just completely distracted. And that was like a real, like a hardish lesson I learned was like, you can only do one thing well at once. And so like, if you want to be world class at something, you can't do I can't do two things at once. So like, I just needed to be able to focus. And like pretty early when I was cycling, I was coming back from a training ride and I was listening to a podcast. And back then, this is like 2007 or so, 2008. And like podcasts were pretty early at that point. And it was a series called Entrepreneurial Thought Leadership from Stanford. So they had a course like this. And each week they'd have a podcast, they'd have like all the visionaries and luminaries and this. And I remember just one of the speakers, and it was talking to a Stanford class, and it was like, hey, given what you're here and all the opportunities that you have been at Stanford studying this course, like if you're not going towards what you want to do in life, then you're failing life. And that really resonated because like I had a good background. I had a computer science degree, I had a bunch of good contacts. I'd started getting into this cycling thing, and it was like, if I actually want to do this well, and it is time limited, like there's not many 50-year-olds decide to become cyclists and get to a top elite level. So I had to do it then. And in 18 months later, I was representing Ireland at the Worlds, and then I kind of like just got really into it over the next couple of years.
It was like, was it a simple decision though? Like when you'd kind of said, okay, well, listen to this now, and this is what, and I really want to do this. And so it was as simple as that. You just kind of made that decision.
Largely, but like, I think there was lots of things. Like the people I was, like my co-founders, there was five of us in total. Like we could kind of all see in parallel that we weren't really committing to build the product or committing to one thing and really going for it. So like, I don't know, maybe it would have played out differently if we'd landed on something, got fully aligned, and was Strava. Like, Actually, with Strava, we were too early. So you didn't have GPS on the phones at that point, and that was the unlock for Strava. So like, why we started in the Strava one was I was going on bike rides, and I'd come back and be like, hey, I actually want to be able to share this. I also talked about a micro blogging platform as well. Before I knew about Twitter, because you'd come back and be like, oh, I really want to actually say this, because I was blogging myself at this point already, but it was something much more lightweight. And then when I was blogging, I wanted a better way of sharing what I was doing with people, because like not many people were sharing this sort of stuff. Like it was very low content. So I wanted a platform to be able to do that. So we started building it, but also the tech stack we chose was like super poor. And like now, like in Intercom, we use Ruby on Rails. If I knew about Ruby on Rails at that point, maybe the story would have been different. Maybe I would have never been a cyclist. But yeah.
And so the cycling, right? So you went all over. You obviously got to that kind of level. Talk to me about, your routine. Like what was that actually like, for you? And like, what was I don't know. I think I personally, there's a lot of synergies and like giving you kind of leadership. Like there's a lot of, it's intertwined somewhat here, right? So give me a bit of a synopsis of that journey as a professional cyclist.
Yeah. So I think when you, like, if you look at it overall, I think it is, or what we were doing was acutely interesting, but chronically boring. So if you look at any median time of the year, like it was pretty boring what I was doing. It was just like training and then more training and like doing intervals or this sort of stuff. But then there was periods during the year where like you're doing big races or maybe you were doing well, where where it was just, where like that was the interesting piece. And then from the outside, like people would just see like the interesting bits. So like, oh, you're off in this place and you're racing that race. I'm like, that was freaking cool. But like, it also sucked when you were training the Wicklow Mountains for 5 hours and then you finish 5 hours and then you have to do the hard intervals and it's raining and you're cold. And there was a saying like, a bad day on the bike is better than a good day in the office. And I don't think anyone who was really good at cycling or really pushed themselves could actually stand behind that. It was like, there's a lot of bad days, and I've had pretty good days in the office as well. So it was a real mix, but it was a lot of just doing the right thing consistently over a long period of time. And like, one mistake I did like a couple of times was like I got like say maybe too obsessed with being too perfect at something. So say one would be around nutrition where everything had to be perfect. And the problem with that was you go to a race, or I remember racing in France, and all you got was soggy pasta. And you were used to having your avocados or your this or your that. And you had to they almost have like a template of what optimal looks like for you, stick to it or be close to it like 80 or 90% of the time, but almost purposely not. Like almost purposely go off the rails a little bit so that you actually have that resilience when you're racing in some random place and things aren't going to plan.
Maybe trying to simulate when things don't actually, you can't have that level of precision because of the reality of where you are.
Yeah. There's lots of times where the only food I had was pizza before a race, and like, fine. if I went like super strict and everything, then maybe pizza would make me sick because my body wasn't used to it. But like, yeah.
And was that, so that was a mix of, that was mainly road bike, but that wasn't mountain biking?
Yeah, no. So initially it was mountain biking, and I did that for the first like 3 years or so. And then I was doing it was the Ross. It's like an 8-day, at that point it was an 8-day stage race. It was an international 8-day stage race in Ireland. And I was using it as training, and I did well in it. And people were like, you should really try road racing. You should really come and do road racing. And say in Ireland, like the prestige around road racing would have been a bit higher. And like, so I kind of fell for it, and I jumped across and started doing road racing. Now, the following year I was racing for a team that was based out of Taiwan. And that was super cool. So like from that point of view, it was really nice. But looking back, I think maybe I needed to stick at one sport, or like at least one subsection of the sport for longer. The initial base level of fitness I had would get me to a certain level, but then to get really, really good, to go from like decent at a national level to like decent at a world level, just like you're going into percentages then, and you probably need to stick it longer.
And like, at what point did you like realize that, okay, I'm not going to be the best at this?
Yeah.
And reality of when you commit and you're all in, and geez, the tax on your body, the tax on your life, everything that you've just kind of touched on briefly there, like the consequences then looking around you and realizing that despite everything you're doing, the gap seems to, well, even though it's relatively small, but it seemed quite, as you've just mentioned there, like, what was that like?
Each year you'd see progression. So that's one thing in cycling, or like say in endurance sports or something where there's something to measure against, like you're able to see progression. And like, as you continually see, like my last season, I was the strongest I had been across my career when it was.
Oh, you didn't dip. You didn't.
I was still improving in most metrics that I was able to track. But like you knew the trajectory of the progression, and then also my age. So like when I retired, I was like 33. So I wasn't going to be making leaps further of improvement or getting much better. So I could say like I could have kept doing this for a while more. But at that point, it was like kind of. Like a lot of what I wanted to get out of it was like this kind of extreme life experience, one that you can only do once, pull a lot of like life lessons for. I kind of got a lot of it, and like continue doing the same thing. Yeah, it'd been cool. Maybe I'd raced in a few more countries, but like I kind of got I got the most out of what I could. And then it was just like time to change it up and go on to another chapter. And
that seems like a nice way. Do you know what I mean? Like you hear of, obviously, as we know, it's dangerous, the amount of accidents that, like it really is it's a dangerous sport.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So I suppose that's not a bad way to hang up the cleats or whatever the term is.
Oh yeah. When I'm sitting in Intercom as an engineer or as a manager, I am thinking about how I don't have fear of dying today while I go down a hill. So it really puts everything distractive.
Because
no, you just get super focused on the thing.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of uncontrollables. Like
yeah.
around you.
Oh yeah, like the thing I go back into. I remember.
Were you ever nervous? Were you like, be bricking it, or were you just like, nah, I'm in the zone here. I'm focused. I've got
you just try and just stay focused on the thing, control the things you can control, and kind of forget about everything else. Some of it's like willful ignorance about everything that could go wrong, but
it's like a skill though, right? Mindset. That's a
and
is that learned?
And you trust in your training. Like, so you've done this many, 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 many times, and at times you're like sort of pushing the edge a bit more. Like, I remember sort of the most scary one. It was a race in Taiwan, and my teammate was second in the general classification, and my job was to follow the wheel of the guy who was actually leading. And
he tucked him behind you.
No, I was no. So like my team leader, he was already up the road ahead. We were in Taiwan, and it was like quite a big road, but it was absolutely bucketing down. We were going down a hill. It was about 8-9%, and we were hitting 80 or 90 km an hour. And there was these little the road dividers they had there are these little like half golf ball type things. So it's not like the dividers we have over here. Yeah. And if I clipped that, it's just like. Yeah, it was. I think back to this and be like, oh, I still have skin from that particular time. I didn't crash. Or getting across the finish line, I remember being just like, okay, got through that one. Actually, the Asian races was most like that because they tended to be like it was warmer, and that like the race speed tends to be higher when the temperature is warmer. It's like a couple of kilometers higher, and just some of them was like, pretty crazy. So I don't get that anymore. Yeah. I've kind of gotten used to that. And now when I go out riding, I'm pretty chill. I don't take risks.
Yeah. Bring me up to the now. We're going to yo-yo a little bit, right? But you work for Intercom, right? And you're in a senior leadership position. And we'll get into that in a second. But from everything you just described there around cycling, that journey you went on, if you could to take a few things from that, right, that has made you the leader that you are today, and the unique kind of authenticity of you, right? Is there any things that stand out from that whole chapter, that whole period, that has defined you as a leader, or certain things that you've done? Is there anything you can share that would be useful perhaps to other people listening and going on that leadership journey?
Yeah, like it's like in cycling and then in work, and it's also what I'm like for my reports or people in my org or anyone I'm chatting to. It's like consistently doing the small things well. And let's say you join Intercom and you're a very like a junior engineer. It's like you'll have tasks, and like the job is to do the task, or to surface to me or to the manager or whatever. If you cannot do that task, you surface you can't do that task, or you'll get help or all that. And it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same when my manager, a VP, asks me like if there's something that I can do, or if there's a particular problem to look at. It's like either like the two answers are yep, and I'll get this done, or here is what we need to think about, or here we need to change something. And it's kind of the same in cycling. It was like how I got pretty good quickly. I had some natural ability, but I just geeked out on what were all of the simple things I can do to get really good. And some of it was like having I typically had the best bike that I'd race against anyone. Like I'd sweat the details on like a particular tire will roll faster on the tarmac than a different tire, and it'll save me like 2% of my power. And then a chain that is like with the right wax on it will save 2% of the power. And like all of these little things would add up.
Marginal gains, the data, the precision around preparation. You were you were all over that.
Yeah, as I studied computer science, I was as geeky as you could potentially be.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That foundation, that skill set of being good at that course, and obviously cracking on and building software, that whole methodology, that whole approach to problem solving, preparation, you took that into cycling. My problem in cycling was I wanted to be as good as I could possibly be. You break that into like smaller problems that you can sort of go after and address, and then that's the same as what we do in software. It's just like, what does Intercom do? It's like we try to give our customers customers
delightful experiences. We want like perfect customer support. And like, okay, so how do you do that? And you just keep on breaking that down, breaking it down. And eventually you have that like early career engineer in Intercom solving a specific task that feeds up all into this. And it's just, it's all kind of the same, just do small things really well over a really long period of time. And make sure they're the right things to be doing, of course. Because like you could, like even in cycling, you could follow fads, or you could try random things, and you need to be able to quickly like experiment, understand if what you're doing is working. If not, stop it, go on, try a different thing. Same with what we do in Intercom, and same with what we do, or like in my group.
You said something to me before, the skill set of learning how to learn. Is really more powerful, more necessary today than it ever was before. Give me some more context behind that. You said it to me, and I was thinking about it.
Like so. Today. Yeah, like in the past, like we've always, like say in engineering or like software engineering or building companies, like software engineers have always been learning. Like going way back to when I did my internship in Silicon Valley. So this is 2002. Like my first task was we were using Java, and at that point the language didn't support a way of, if you were trying to log in and you were typing, it didn't support a way of not showing what you were typing. So, like when you type in a password, normally does little dots and you can't see what letters it was. Like there was no, like Java didn't have it at that point. So what I built was, like in another language, it was C. I built a way of Java integrating with this little C library that I built so that it could do that. And that was me several weeks. And now to say to an engineer that was several weeks of work is absolutely laughable. So it's just like, you can vibe up like crazy apps at this point. So like there's always been a progression. There's always been kind of learning. And like say when the iPhone came out and mobile apps came much bigger, like there was a transition. There was a lot more new things to learn. Those new business models. So learning has always been the case, except now it's just so much more extreme. It is so fast. Where particularly from like the end of the year. So like say roll back 1 year ago, it would be potentially possible to have a debate whether AI was helping engineers do engineering work. Like it helped in many cases, it probably didn't help in many other cases. Like that's completely gone as a debate at this point. Like in Intercom, the way we work building product is radically altered in the last 4 months or 5 months. And it's continuing to accelerate. So
radically, just 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. Wow. So it was the Anthropic's Opus 4.5 model just made a lot of things that we were trying to do in the past. It just made it work. So it went from, I wish we could do this, to like, oh my God, this is actually able to do it. So like while in the past we always like had been learning, it was almost like we were drip fed new ways of working or new tools. Like now everything's happening. Like from, I don't know, every week there is previously what would be a year of innovation in the space. And like I think everyone has to just get really comfortable. Like say we built tooling a couple of months ago to help like agents build code. And we thought it was pretty good. We posted about it. We probably, like I talked about it at a conference saying, like, we threw it out. It's terrible now. Because like just some of the platform that we built on with Anthropic and some other internal tooling, it's just way better. It's and what we've built now, we may throw out again in 3 or 4 months. We're learning more. The industry is building more, and what worked a couple of weeks ago is not necessarily going to work a couple of weeks from now.
What is the, like, that sounds exciting and fun, and the speed of learning, and engineers working in that, I'd be like, wow, always that culture, that willingness to just throw stuff out and crack on, and just that pace of innovation, like, sounds exciting and fun. What's the other side of that though?
Oh, like it's certainly overwhelming.
Yeah, because so you as a manager, as a leader, as a senior leader, like managing people, right, and the pace at which people arrive at the things you're talking about there, because maybe it's different in Intercom, but like, there's a lot of like challenge in leadership in managing that pace, like what can what's the other side of that? Like, is there another side of it that
oh yeah, like was one thing Intercom's always sort of like, from our values and the way we interview, we always lean into people that like are very open-minded and are like ready for rapid change. I interview a lot of people for joining Intercom, and I always say, it's like, hey, I know it's a cliche, but we're a fast-paced environment. And then I'm like, no, we're a really fast-paced environment, and like you'll have to get used to that. So I think we've done some selection where people are able to sort of tolerate this pretty well. But like, for me, it's calling out, yes, it's overwhelming. It is overwhelming for me. It is overwhelming for literally everybody in the company. And if you have anyone that says something like, I know what we're going to be doing in 3 months, or I know where this is going in 3 months, they're lying. And like, no one would say that. So it's like, I think there's like, it's a team camaraderie type thing. Like, we're in this together. The cat is out of the bag. There is no going back. The only way is like embracing all of this. And yeah, no, like, it is easy to get like too into it and overexcited. Like, I don't watch Netflix very much anymore. Like, when I put the kids to bed, like, my day job isn't to code, but like I really enjoy coding. And like, when I was in college, as I mentioned, I used to like build video games. Now I'm using Claude to like usually solve problems in Intercom that is off the critical path. Like I do performance tweaks or something like this. So no one's waiting for me to do the work, so I can go off and do this other stuff that's actually improvements to our system. And I can see how long term that, like, it could burn me out. It almost certainly could burn other people out. But like, we just have to call this out. We have to also call out that this is it is a crazy time. It's a crazy time in our industry. We're really lucky to be in it. Don't know exactly where it's going to go, but like, have fun. we may get back to boring in a couple of years, but for now, at least.
Okay, but that's interesting. Like, your style and the style that, like, not pretending it isn't, the pace, and not pretending that you're not overwhelmed with it. Like, just that level of transparency, that level with that like, it's not like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not a hierarchy that's acknowledging and accepting the reality.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's helped, and then obviously how good you hire, and how
and then set
really
up
probe
like
and get into the the real, I suppose that, not that curiosity, but that willingness to actually be able to cope in a relentless, fast-paced environment that you've just touched on there.
Like, it's our job to give the tools as well.
Sure.
Like like, we have to help everyone, and like help other managers and help our leaders, and like, whether it's through like enablement, or we do like lots of different sessions to bring people in the journey. We share what we do. We also we experiment quite a lot. So I don't know, like 30% of what we try won't work in this new way. So I've got a new piece of software where I'm now demoing, and I'll probably end up spending a day or two trying to, like, workflows that I do as a manager, I'm trying to like automate. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work. But like, if it doesn't work, I'm not going to get too stressed about it not working. But I'm going to also make sure that when, like, say, an engineer in my group goes down a path to try and like take a big swing at improving something, and if it doesn't work out, like, that's okay. We know there's going to be experimentation. It was like, what will kind of suck is, and I saw this in cycling, like, I never burnt out when I was winning. Like, so when I was winning races or doing well, or I never got burnt out as a cyclist. I never actually got that tired. But like, as soon as something goes off the rails, maybe it's a crash, or maybe a race didn't go well, then all of a sudden everything hits you and you feel burnt out, tired, and maybe it'll take you weeks to recover. It's kind of the same in our job. It's like, can be an overwhelming, crazy time. Everything's good when it's good, but we also have to be able to make sure that, like, hey, it's not always going to be like this. There will be bumps in the road, and don't worry. It's all part of the process.
Yeah. Why have Intercom time and time again, like, seem to like I don't know, be relevant, build great products, arguably, kind of have written some of the best approaches and the way they approach product and who they bring in, like they're very well regarded and respected in the people and caliber. What what do you put it down to? Because you've been there a while now, right? And you've seen, different things, you've witnessed different things. Like what can you share? Help me understand.
Great question. Like some from my first startup failure, when we couldn't get product market fit. When I retired from cycling, your exact question there was what drove me to Intercom. So, like I'd been staying all over the world, kind of live anywhere. My criteria of where to base myself for the next part of my life was English speaking, tech hub, and close to nature. And Dublin's excellent for that. Like I know we get rain in the winter, but like and the summer. But like, once I'd gotten that, it was like, okay, now I want to join a company that makes products that customers love and they pay well for. Because there's lots of stuff that you make for customers, and if they don't pay you money, it's not a business, it's a hobby. So like I wanted to find actual proper businesses, and then I joined. I think the guys that like set inception of the company just thought really well and deeply about product and experimentation. And there was, I remember having this chat with a friend like 8 or 9 years ago, and before they joined Intercom. Like Intercom was almost like the company version of several of the best product books that you will ever read. And then Intercom, of course, made books as well, and we've a lot of blog posts and a lot of podcasts and a lot of this sort of stuff. But it was almost like the best parts of Clay Christensen's writings, Intercom just fully internalized and didn't deviate off from. And like it's actually kind of funny. It's all coming like full circle again now, where like in the past we had like say SaaS where you'd build a tool and the tool helps a person do a job. Now with AI and with agents and like say with Fin, we're doing the job. And it's like Clay Christian, it's like jobs to be done. It's like, what is the job to be done? And like that's the way we've been thinking about a lot of the stuff that we've done like for a really long time. And now we have agents that can actually do the job, not just help someone else or not make a part of a job suck less, but actually do the job. So yeah, I don't know. I guess the founders and early people in product read a few really good books, internalized it really well, and then iterated over time as they learn more. Yeah, and then the other thing is experimentation. Like we ship a lot. Like like internally we talk about like if you've gotten code and it's not being tested in front of customers and you actually haven't done anything. So you want to ship, you want to learn, you want to get feedback from the customer. You also want to have opinions as well. It's like a customer could say they want foo, but they don't want that at all. They want a different solution. So you have to bring your own opinions about like where you think your problem space is going, but testing it like a lot in front of our customers.
The product you're working on then, Fin.ai, right? That one. What is it?
Yeah, so Intercom started in 2011. We're like that the customer support messenger that you would see on websites. So like we'd been building customer support software for a long time. About 7-8 years ago, we built out an AI team as well, because we could see that there was always going to be something in this space. Like you wanted AI chatbots, like in customer support, particularly at large scale, you want ways to be able to answer the bulk of the not complex questions. So hopefully you wouldn't have to answer this question, but like, let's say, how do I change my password? And like we'd got an AI team, and like they were building in that space. They'd been using some of the OpenAI models even before the ChatGPT moment. But then when ChatGPT came out, it was like, wow, there's this real step change. And it was basically instantly within the company. Like that weekend it came out, it went from, this is no longer a supportive tool. This like quickly will become the job. This will do the thing. And then that's what like basically the next week we pivoted the whole company. So we had it was actually kind of funny, like because you talk to some people, they'd be like, oh, but like how did it work internally? Was like people not wanting to stop their key project that they'd been working on or whatever. And it really wasn't like that at all. Like people I think people in Intercom just saw it straight away that this was just different. It was like we had a business, and the time it was, I think Owen said this, so I can say it. Like it was over 100 million in revenue, and we largely we kept the lights on, but that part of the business just didn't get support. Like we weren't building a lot of new features. Like we made sure it could scale with our customers and that issues were resolved, but it was no longer like an area of product focus because we went all in on Fin, and like we just pivoted the whole company to it. So yeah, like Fin, basically, like as it started, it was like pretty simple. Where like let's say you have a knowledge base where all of the information about your company is, maybe your refund policy and a bunch of things like that, and your customer would reach in and they'd ask a particular question like, hey, how do I do this or whatever, or I'm seeing this problem, and like Fin would be able to help. But as time goes by, and the tooling around Fin that we build, like now it can do real stuff for our customers. For example, we have one customer and they make greeting cards, and if they sent a greeting card to someone and it arrived with broken packaging, then the customer could reach in and be like, hey, I got this, the packaging is broken, and they take a photo of the Fin would ask for a photo of the packaging. Fin would look at it and be like, okay, I can see you paid $4.95 for this. I'm going to refund it onto your Stripe account. You'll have your money back in like 3 to 5 days. So like you're able to do like these, like that's a rather simple version, but you can do these like end-to-end interactions with the company. Like,
is there anything that, it's a funny question, right? But like, are you skeptical at all about some of the parts of AI? Like when we look at, you're privy to probably a lot more than most, right? In certain things that's going on, right?
No, I think
like it's probably more about certain skills as well. There's probably a follow-up question, but let me give me the skeptical version first, right? Like if there's any concerns.
Well, I don't know. Like I think you would. So like every time we've had a big technology shift, there would be a bit of disruption for a while, and then there'd be massive growth. So it was the same with like the Industrial Revolution. It was the same when like the iPhone came out, and all of a sudden like everyone has apps, and like there's just a lot more software was built. And so like this is like the positive way, and like, the way I think it will go is like kind of like the Javan's paradox, where the cost of software will get a lot cheaper. There's a lot of terrible software out in the world. Like say, for example, a random solicitor in the Midlands, their solicitor software is some repackaged version of an American company's software that just doesn't work for the Irish market, doesn't really work for them, but they have to live with it because they have to. Like it was never going to be feasible for them to have like a proper sort of system for them, or something more custom, or something more fitting to their specific niche. Sure. And now the costs will come down. So like now they will be able to have the great software. They will be able to provide better service for their customers. They'll be able to not have like a sucky user experience for the people doing data entry thing or something like that. So like that's a super positive one. Yeah, there could be a concern where like this, maybe this time is different. I don't think it is. Maybe this time is different, where like this is knowledge work. But then like even within that,
the pace feels different though.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm trying to see if you have any thoughts on it,
it seems different, but like a lot of the areas where people get most excited are areas where like it's less murky. So like writing code or like writing software, it's like, yeah, it's super complex and all this, but like there's a compiler, and it's like you can test it and you know if you've done the right thing. But like a lot of the world is a lot more murky than that. There's a lot of weird systems for interoperability. So for example, there's this thing about the US system, like the housing system, where like realtors like on each side of the market get 3 or 6% of the fee. And there was a Doomer article a while back where it's like, oh my God, like AI is going to make this zero, and like no one's going to, like that whole type of job will go away. And it's like, that job's not gone away because of a lack of information. like Zwilio are like you don't need they don't need those two people as it is right now today. But there's like these sort of structural impediments, or there's like bureaucracy, and there's all this sort of stuff. So like all this sort of stuff will be a limiting factor. So while if we in Intercom and in software see this massive radical change that's super accelerated, like maybe other parts will actually be a bit slower and sort of allow everybody to figure out what's next.
Is there any skills that will survive the AI shift? Like, say younger people come into the workforce, like, are there any, like, if you were advising and coaching and trying to develop people, who have probably good at mathematics, problem solving, curiosity, love coding, game, similar, let's say you, right? A few years ago, right? 2004, 2005. Like, let's say you in the present and you were advising yourself, right? What would you be coaching and asking them and encouraging them to do to be, I suppose, future ready?
It's still just problem solving. Like it's
does that get labored a little bit, do you think, at the moment?
Well,
am I guilty of doing the exact same thing there?
Maybe. Well, I don't know, but like
because there's a lot of that at the minute, right?
Yeah,
and I just want to call it out, right?
The amount of people writing artisanal code is probably going to go down, but there's a lot of problems still to be solved. And I think they'll I think having like this. So when I studied computer science, like in our first year, we were studying math, and then we were also studying electrotechnology, which was like the absolute physics behind the most simple parts of like how like a silicon wafer would work. And then on top of that, we were doing like digital logic, was like how do the ones and zeros work? And then it was assembly, and then it was C, and then we were putting Java on top, and we were building up all these layers. And like I haven't used electrotechnology since, or haven't written very many ones and zeros directly, but it gave me a way to think about like the structure of how things are built. So I think that these fundamentals like stay the same. Like you know the layers of the cake all the way up to the top, and I think that'll help you in the long term, like to think about the problems. But in the end, like it was like my example where like my first intern project, where I was like just several weeks doing something that is like laughably silly to do now. And like the tools are just more powerful now, and you'll be able to like a person coming out of college, maybe they'll go down the road of entrepreneurship. Maybe there'll be like 100 million like startups of one solving particular niches for particular maybe they'll only have 3 customers, but the 3 customers will be valuable enough to to make it viable.
We both share a real interest and a love of a particular book, actually, called Legacy, right?
Yeah.
What does that book mean to you, and what parallels or what learnings could we take from it from a leadership perspective? What do you think?
Yeah. What's it? Sweeping out the
sheds.
The sweeping the sheds.
Yeah,
I think that's one of them. So I think for leaders, you always have to like role model that you're serving like the overall goal, and you will do whatever it takes to do that. And like say one of the things in Intercom that I do is like we don't have to do it anymore, but like for a long time we would have to do maintenance windows. So this is like we need to do a database upgrade or something like that. And I always put my hand up as one of the people for every single one that we've done, because it's sucky. It's like it's on a Saturday. It's like early on a Saturday morning. Like I have 3 kids. I don't want to be doing this, but I will get up and I'll always be there doing the annoying job. And because I always need we always do this with 2 people. So I'd always need another engineering counterpart. But like if I'm not going to volunteer someone to do something unless I'm actually doing it as well. And so it's like little things like that, just consistently, like doing, I don't know, the annoying things. Like try to pass off the fun stuff to other people, and let them have the fun jobs, and then just do like the annoying work over a really long time. It seems to have worked well.
It's a good point, because for those that don't know, I mean, Legacy is about arguably the most successful sports team, the All Blacks, right? And then that is one of their values or core principles, I think, isn't it? Sweeping the sheds. Basically that they
Yeah.
They never, we sweep the sheds after every game. We never think we're too big to do the small things, and we're all willing to. It's funny, you see some of them, they're in their nice suits, their black suits, and they're just sweeping, it's a lovely visual. But so that clearly is well, look, this has to be done. This is crap. No one wants to do it, but I'm not too big.
Yeah.
I'm not too important to do this. And then by doing that,
you'll get help, and then other people internalize it, and then they'll also, like, as their leaders, they'll understand that this is the way to, show the path. Another one was, is it like keep a blue face or something? It's like not getting stressed under fire, like keeping focused on the job at hand. So
What's that from? That's not from that. What's that from?
No, it's from it as well. It's
okay.
Like when you have say if there was an aggressive situation in a game, not losing the head, because losing the head will cost more than being calm.
Control,
yeah. I really internalized this one, and I said to my reports as well. I did a bike race. It was one of the Irish bike races, and I'd have been probably the favorite in the race. And the peloton raced, I'd say, against me, but there was a breakaway that got away without me. I bridged across. I eventually got across anyway. And then even from that breakaway, another breakaway got going. And there was like 3 or 4 of us away. And like, we're all in a great place to win. Like, if we all work together, like we can, even though it was the first day of a stage race, like we'll have this wrapped up. But no one would like ride with me. I was happy doing most of the riding, like to try and like build up a gap versus everyone else. I was fine with like doing most of the work, but like everyone else would just attack me. And I got kind of pissed off. And when it was like an uphill sprint fringe type thing. And I'm not typically a sprinter, but I was so angry that I put all my anger into the pedals, and like I won the stage then. And there was a journalist that I know well that was just over the line. And then he interviewed me straight away. And I like shudder at what I said. I let it out. And then I saw it in articles like later that evening. I was like, I will never do this again. When I am angry, I will be very calm, and I will just say, like, I don't know, when in doubt, say out or something. Just shut up until you're actually calm. So it's like this is another one. Like, it was a parallel of the legacy one where it's like, just like, even if you don't have a cool head internally, but just keeping a cool head. And like the area I work in is I'm involved in lots of incidents and things like that, and it's pretty stressful. And like, I think it's important to be able to lead by not being overly stressed. Or like we've had like issues where it was pretty serious, but like I try to keep people calm, because like if people are stressed, they're not actually performing particularly well. Like, there's a certain level of stress is good. Like, you need to be focused. You need to know there's a problem. But if someone's stressing out that like there's a major issue and it's getting in the way of their job, it's not going to help. It's like, we're here to do the job.
You mentioned something about motivation. Tell me your thoughts on motivation in the context of leading some of the best talented engineers and tech people in the world, right? Like, what have you learned about people?
I know, so I think a lot of this was kind of ingrained, or probably through cycling before I did this, but it was a few years ago I read a book from Daniel Pink called Drive, and it was about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. And I think he formulated it almost perfectly. And his thing was, he had a mental model around AMP, so which was autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And like, when you have those 3 things, like, you'll have like intrinsically motivated people, like helping solve the problems, be happier, all this. I actually think he got one thing wrong, although it doesn't sound as cool as AMP. I think it's not like the 1980s dancer guy who used to go on about PMA, but it's PMA. So like purpose, mastery, and autonomy. And that's how, like, say when I'm hiring engineers or setting up teams or working through stuff, I think about it. So like the first thing is purpose, where like you need to absolutely know what Intercom is doing, and like what is Intercom's reason for existing, then how that maps down into your group, how it maps into your team, and then into like what we need from the people. So like Intercom's always been, like, I think, exceptional at doing this. Like, we're always really aligned. But what was the next level from this? And one thing I stress about when I'm hiring is the person needs their purpose to be aligned to all of this. So so we do an additional, like for interviews for my group, we do an additional session which we call expert chat, which we may already be potentially going to hire the person, but like it's an additional one to see if they want to be in my group long term. So like my group are median and average 10 years, like 5 and 6 years. It used to be even higher, except we've been hiring people. And I want people around that want to stay around for a really long time. Because like once you've done that, like you build great camaraderie, you build a lot of context, you build, like you can run leaner teams where you can have just 2 or 3 people own like a large system for like a multi-billion-dollar company. And that feels really cool. It feels like good not to have like 8 people you need to communicate a simple decision with. It's just like you and the other. Yeah, no, it's really efficient. So like,
you pay them well, look after, and because they're delivering lots of great value, right?
Yeah. So like, I want, like, let's say there was a front end engineer, and like, let's say if this was one of the back end engineer teams, like even if the front end engineer was exceptional, unless they really want to be a back end engineer and working on the specific problems that we have, like, I don't think my team is the right team for them. So I would not actually hire them. Like if they were an exceptional engineer, I'll find another place in Intercom for them. But I really want them to be lined up with like what we need long term. And then the next part is like the mastery. So it's like really having the tools and the skills to be able to do your job really well. So that could be training, or that could be a lot of pairing. Like there's one of the teams where so the engineers need to have deep context in some of our tech stack, and we spend months where one of the engineers would basically pair with them every day and like share that mental model. And like in the short term, you can look at it and it's pretty expensive, but in the medium plus term, like this specific one I'm thinking about is years gone by now. Like it's been incredible. It's exceptional because that other person is doing the same now. Like the person that was on board is doing the same, and like they've mastered it. So like if they've got that purpose, if they know with the group and the team, and they're personally aligned with it, and they have the mastery in the area, like particularly in my area where there's an extreme level of ownership, there's just so much level of like autonomy that you can give, and like those people own it. So it was last year, it was over 2 years, but we moved database vendors. So like where Intercom stores its most critical data, it's like a very, very, very important infrastructural change, and that was driven by myself, one of my direct reports, and then a senior principal engineer that I work with. So the 3 of us did like something that's pretty company defining. But it was our thing. Like we knew what we needed to do. We have the skills to be able to do it, and we were given the autonomy and the trust to do it. And I think that's one of the things that like keep people around. Yeah. It's thanks.
No, but it's nice to just acknowledge that. Like it's. What would you love your legacy to be?
Oh, I have other people doing some of the things that was good that I did, and not the things that was not good.
Life is busy, right? Because you're 3 kids now? Yeah. So it's a different chapter for you. Now, but still, clearly, your motivation's there, and you're working in a great company.
Yeah, no, like this times, like it's really exciting to be in technology. Like it's scary in every sort of way you can imagine. It's overwhelming, but there's so much opportunity, and there's so much opportunity right in front of us that I don't know. I couldn't do a career break at this point. It's like I don't know. I was on vacation for 10 days a couple of weeks ago, and like even being away, it was like so much changed when I come back, and it was like, oh my goodness, it's like when I'm on vacation, I tune out, but like when I come back, it's like I was super excited to see what was going on and what's changed. And I was like 10 days away, and now it was like 10 weeks, so it's like 2 weeks or 2 years ago.
So if your children did want to go follow your footsteps, cycling or technology, or both, would you encourage both?
But I don't think there's very much money in cycling, but there's a lot of enjoyment. Like when I stopped playing basketball, like went cold turkey. I didn't
you never picked it up again.
No, I actually played a tiny bit because my son started like bouncing the basketball, so I'd shoot a little bit. But like there's no interest. But when I retired from cycling, like I retired, and then the next day, what did I do? I went on a bike ride.
Okay, still enjoy it.
Oh yeah. No, so having something like that for the kids is just finding something that they enjoy, and like hopefully they can find a thing. Like I wish I found cycling when I was younger. I think I would have been world class at that point. But like I think my job is to. Well, I will not be telling them to do any sport, but if they have interest in a sport or if they show like actual skill and ambition in being great at something, is being able to like help them with the tools to like sort of follow that. But again, they need to be motivated. It needs to be like their thing that they want to do.
Brilliant. Well, I could chat to you all day, but I really want to say thank you for sharing that story. It's remarkable, and it is unique, your story.
Yeah, thanks, Neil.
To give our audience the opportunity to hear it. So wishing you onwards and upwards some great success. Thank you.